Give me the next few minutes, and in return, I'll give you the complete step-by-step system you can use to get 100,000 and 0% interest business credit, even if you have no proof of income. I've used this exact process to secure over 20.7 million for my clients, and I personally used it to avoid bankruptcy and build 3 separate companies. Okay, so the first step actually has nothing to do with your business. It has everything to do with you. And by you, I mean your personal credit report. You see, when you're going to apply for 0% business credit and you don't provide any proof of revenue, the bank's going to have to make their entire approval decision based off of your personal credit report. And if it's not 100% optimized, there's a good chance they're either going to give you a small approval or they're just going to flat out deny you. Now, when most people hear personal credit, they immediately think of the credit score, but really the credit score is just a reflection of what's going on within your credit report. The utilization on your personal credit card, your on-time payment history, how much new credit you've been applying for, your credit age, how much debt you have are all things that determine what your credit score will be. But the credit score is a good indicator of how healthy the credit report is, which brings us to the 100K question. What credit score do you need to get 100K in business credit? I have found that when applying for 0% business credit, if you are above a 740, that usually puts you in a good place to get 100K or more. Now, if you are below a 740, that means that there is some type of negative indicator on your credit report that will need to be fixed prior to applying for 0% business credit. And the negative indicator could be a multitude of things. It could be you have a late payment on an account. It could be you just don't have very many accounts, so you have a super young profile. Or it could be your personal credit cards have high balances, and that is dragging down your score. It is very important to get those taken care of before applying for 0% credit, because if you were to proceed and try to get capital without fixing the report, you're either going to get a super small approval or they're just going to flat out deny you, and it's not going to end up being a good scenario. So let's break down how to fix these one by one. If the negative item on your credit report needing fixed is a derogatory, so a late payment, collection, charge off, bankruptcy, etc., you have 2 options. You can either, number 1, wait 7 years for it to fall off naturally, which it will, or 2, you work with a good credit repair company, have them dispute the items on your behalf, and you get it off in 1/10 of the time. The only caveat with option number 2 is credit repair companies cost money to do this, and you need to vet them thoroughly to ensure that they are actually good at what they do. Now, let's say the negative indicator on your credit report that's dragging down your score is that your personal credit cards have high balances. In this case, you again have 2 options. You can either, number 1, keep making the minimum monthly payments and pay them down slowly but surely, or number 2, you borrow the paydown cash, you use it to get your credit cards below 30% utilization, you go secure 0% business credit, then you use your 0% business credit to pay back the borrowed paydown money. Some common ways you can get the paydown cash is borrowing money from a friend or family member, borrowing money from your savings or retirement, or in most of my clients' cases, they get a high limit personal loan, then pay back the loan after we secure 0% business credit. But even if you have a 740 credit score, that doesn't necessarily mean you are guaranteed to get 100K plus and 0% business credit. I've had clients with an 800 credit score get approved for less business credit than clients with a 750 credit score. And what it came down to is what I like to call comparable credit, or as some commonly refer to it as comparable debt. When it comes to comparable credit, I like to think of a credit report as either being thin or thick. And here's what I mean by that. If someone has an 800 plus credit score, but when you take a deeper look at their report, you say they only have 1 personal credit card and the limit on that card is only 1,000, this is what I would consider a super thin credit profile. And this is because the bank is seeing that they only have 1 form of debt and the credit card they do have only has a $1,000 credit limit. So there simply just isn't enough personal credit data for them to trust that person with 100K and 0% business credit. A thick profile, for example, would be someone that has an auto loan, a mortgage, and 3 to 5 personal credit cards, with one of them having a credit limit of 10K or above. 10 out of 10 times, if someone has a thick credit profile, they can have a lower credit score and will still get more 0% business credit than a person with a thin profile but a high score. And this is simply because they have proven they can have multiple forms of debt and still pay their bills on time. Quick disclaimer, if you currently have a thin profile, I recommend 1 new account every 2 to 3 months until you are where you need to be from a credit profile thickness standpoint. Okay, now that your personal credit is solid, we need to make sure you have the right vehicle to actually receive the funding. The first may seem obvious, but you need to make sure your business has an EIN. This is mostly important because the EIN separates the business from you. For instance, if you were to go out and apply for 0% business credit and you didn't have an EIN, On the application, you would have to provide your social security number in place of the EIN, which would place the debt on you personally. Second, always make sure to use a physical address for your business and not a virtual address. And this is simply because it makes your business look more professional and secure. If you use a virtual address and go to try to set up a bank account or apply for business credit, 8 out of 10 times they will deny you and not approve you for the account. Now, I'm not saying you need to go spend $1,500 a month on a nice office suite. It just needs to be a solid physical address in the state your business is located in. Many of my clients just use their home address and it works 100% of the time. Third, when applying for 0% business credit, the age of your business really does determine what banks will be available to you and how much credit you'll be able to get. For instance, a 3-year-old LLC is going to have more options and get at least 2 times more capital than an LLC that was formed 2 weeks ago. And it's because the bank feels more comfortable lending to an LLC that's been in business for over 1,000 days versus the LLC that's legally been in business for 14 days. That's not to say you can't get 100K plus in 0% business credit with a 2-week-old LLC. I've done it many, many times for clients. What I'm saying is if you have a new LLC for a business you just started, but you also have an LLC you formed years ago but never did anything with it, even though you want funding for the new LLC, it just makes more sense to use your old LLC for securing business credit because you will get more, you'll get it quicker, and it will be far easier. Fourth, make sure the legal name of your business does not suggest anything risky. And when the bank's algorithm is processing your application and making its decision, one of the main things it looks at is your company's name, and it tries to determine what your business does based on that. I have literally seen people have everything else perfect, a high credit score, physical address, etc., get denied because their company name triggered the bank's risk algorithm. Words to avoid in your company name are things like crypto, capital, CBD, logistics, and anything related to alcohol, gambling, or adult entertainment. Lastly, it's critical to make sure your company info is synchronized across the internet so there isn't any confusion when the bank tries to verify it. Here's what I mean. If you apply for 0% business credit, and the bank is processing your application, if they check their records and it says that you are a marketing agency and you have your home address listed, but when they check the Secretary of State, it says you are a trucking company and the address on there is entirely different, there's a chance they'll deny the application because they're having trouble fully verifying your business info. Now we're moving fast, so really quick, I want to mention that if you want my team to personally build you a custom funding game plan and walk you through this step by step, there's a link below to book a call. We have a 100% success rate in getting our clients 50 to 100K plus in funding. So if you want this done for you, click that link. Okay, you have the credit profile, you have the vehicle. Now here's the game plan for how we apply. When we onboard a client at FundWithCredit.com, we take their business info, what state they live in, what's on their credit profile, and we use all of that data to build the game plan for what banks we should apply for and what to say on the applications to trigger big approvals without having to provide proof of income. Number one, when evaluating a client, the first thing we look for when trying to determine what banks we want to apply at is where do they already have strong banking relationships. For instance, if we say they already have a personal credit card with Bank of America and Wells Fargo and also an auto loan with Wells Fargo, then we're probably going to prioritize those banks first because they are the low-hanging fruit for 0% business credit due to the bank already knowing them, liking them, and trusting them. Number two, probably the trickiest part of getting big 0% business credit approvals is knowing what to put on the applications so you can score a large approval without having to provide proof of income. Because if you put too high of revenue, it could trigger having to provide docs, but on the flip side, if you put too low of revenue, they may give you a small approval. The goal is to hit that sweet spot for a clean, quick, no doc approval. At the end of the day though, the best practice is to put what revenue makes sense. If you have a 2-week-old LLC, saying the business's projected revenue is $2 million really isn't that believable in most cases, but saying the projected revenue of a 5-year-old LLC is $2 million is a very realistic scenario considering how long you've been in business. Number three, if your business credit card application gets declined or goes into a pending status, don't be afraid to pick up your phone and call the bank. I can't tell you how many times we've had clients call the bank after getting declined or sent into pending, and they were able to turn the no/maybe into a high 0% business credit approval. In fact, just the other day, we had a client go into pending on 2 separate Chase applications, and after having him call underwriting, we turned a potential no into $92,000 and 0% business credit from 2 5-minute calls. Now, you've just seen the super condensed version of my framework for getting 100K and 0% business credit. But I'm willing to bet you didn't get into business just to grind for the rest of your life. You probably want to relax and enjoy your time, which is why you should click right here where I break down the exact credit card stack I use to travel for free and show you how to leverage your business credit card points you collect into free flights and luxury travel. I will see you over there.